Seeing as we don't like technology, we're going to just go like this. Can everyone hear me okay? Please, anyway. Excellent. All right. Well, this is Elvis. Elvis is our big resident male saltwater crocodile. And the saltwater crocodile are, of course, found in the northern parts of Australia. You find them from about Rockhampton in Queensland all the way up the coast into the Cape, right across the top end, and then down into WA as well. But they are also found up throughout much of Southeast Asia. So they do have a very, very large distribution or range where they're found, and basically they are the world's largest living reptile. A really big male saltwater croc can get to about 6 metres in length and weigh anywhere up to 1,000 kilos. Elvis here, he's about 4.6 metres. He weighs about 450 kilos. Now it's very important to keep in mind they do not need to be a really large male like Elvis to be considered dangerous. Any saltwater croc in excess of about 2.5 or 3 metres is more than capable of causing a human fatality. When you get to Elvis' size, he's just a little bit better at it. He's really, really large and certainly capable of causing a human fatality. Alright, now you can see us moving Elvis around in the water a little bit. He's basically following our movement and our vibrations. Crocodiles are incredibly sensitive. They have tiny pressure receptors right along their body, which are called ISOs, or integumentary sense organs. Most of them have, they're mostly on the snout and the jaw. And that enables them to pick up on minute vibrations created by my footprints, my footsteps. You'll also see me tapping the water a little bit to move him around. That's what will stimulate a croc, and that's what he would use out in the wild to hone in on a potential prey item. Now in the wild, he would mostly be feeding on a medium to large sized mammal, so anything from a small wallaby up to 1,000 kilo water buffalo. You might think that it would be impossible for an animal this size to drag a fully grown male water buffalo into the water, but it's actually very easy. You would just grab it on the head or a forelimb, he'd drag it back in, they're extremely powerful, and then he would sink to the bottom and very simply drown it. Now Elvis has been here at the park since about 2007. He hasn't always been in captivity. He did start his life out as a wild croc. He was caught up in Darwin Harbour in the early 2000s after being classified as a rogue or nuisance crocodile. So he was removed from his environment, his part of the river, and he was placed into a crocodile farm. Now to you or the person next to you, Elvis might look like your average standard saltwater croc, pretty typical, but to people like myself and Brandon, who have seen a lot of different crocs over the years, Elvis is a standout. He's a stunning animal. Crocs are just like people. Some are very genetically blessed, very good looking. Others have got a head like a dropped pie. There are some hideous crocs out there, believe me. But Elvis is not one of those. He's a very handsome boy. He's got all his legs, his jaw, his head, they're all in perfect condition. And he does have some of the largest teeth you will ever see on a croc anywhere. And they are really, really nice and white.
Right, that's a bit better. So as I was saying, Elvis, he's a stunner. He's a very, very good looking crocodile. And the croc farm knew this. They of course wanted to use Elvis to make lots and lots of baby crocs, pass on those genetics, but he had other ideas. They introduced girlfriend number 1 to Elvis, and that didn't go so well. He ripped her head off, killed her instantly, quite romantic. A year later, they thought, let's give him another crack. Girlfriend number 2 ended the exact same way. No good with the girls, a bit like Brandon there. And as a result, he was no good in a croc farm either. Your main purpose in a croc farm is to make more crocs. He wasn't too keen on doing that. And as a result, he ended up being sent down to us here at the Reptile Park, and he has been living here ever since. He's a perfect animal for this kind of thing, a great display croc, and really a perfect example, or he gives perfect examples of what saltwater crocs are capable of out in the wild and what they would utilise in the wild to locate and ambush their prey. And we're going to see one of those in a moment. They're utilising their camouflage. Now today we've got Elvis in relatively clear water, so we can see him when he goes beneath the surface, but this is not the case out in the wild. In the wild he would have been living in a dark, murky river. When he sinks below the water like that, he's only 10 or so inches underneath, they vanish. You can't see a single thing. Those scales that line the back and the tail, they create currents and countercurrents beneath the surface, which quite literally cancel each other out, allowing even a 450 kilo animal like this to move just inches below the surface, as we see here, without a single disturbance. It's a very effective way of sneaking up on a potential food item. Now he's going to come around that corner there, and I'm going to begin to create those vibrations I spoke about just before. This will basically allow him to come straight in here. Eventually he'll crack the surface with his eyes and his nose. He'll see this bit of food, he'll certainly smell it, fantastic sense of smell. And then he should make his way out of the water a little bit and give you an example of what they're capable of. Come on, Elf. Come on, mate. What I'm watching is his back legs and that tail. The tail is really the driving force behind a crocodile. A few swishes of that, he can be up and out of the water, right to his back legs if you wanted to. Come on, Elf. That is so. Alright. Let's let him swallow that. Get back in the water. Let me catch my heart rate a little bit. And we'll feed him again on this side. Give him a round of applause. I'll be honest, that was probably 20 or 30% of what he's truly capable of. But on a warm summer's day, he really turns it on. He can be an incredibly violent, very, very dangerous croc. That's not to say he's not dangerous right now. Believe me, if I were to be end up in the water with Elvis, he would kill me, and he would do so very, very quickly. We don't scoot around that fact. We don't try and sugarcoat anything here. If you end up in the water with this animal, there is a very, very low chance of survival. Come on, El. Notice he's not hiding anymore. He's got his head on the surface. And as I was saying before, he can hear, see, and smell exactly what's going on now. And this is kind of a confident, cocky thing. He's not hiding. He knows we can see him. And he's just going to cruise over here. And let's see what he does. He does look about 30% larger out of the water than he does in. Come on, El. You would never see a wild croc doing this. This is very much a captive trait. Try and get him to lift his head a little bit for you. He can lift his head almost level with mine. Alright. And there he is. Now, I think he's going to go back in, he's going to burp first. Or he might just sit there, which is excellent. This gives us a really good chance to look at Elvis. He does spend most of his time in the water, so to see him out like this is a really great opportunity. You can see why they're so perfectly adapted to living in the water. When he's out on land, he's quite slow, he's quite promising, and that's because he has those short, stumpy legs. And his tail is also huge. It makes up about half his length and a lot of his weight as well. So when he's out on land, he can't really move all that quickly. In the water is where they are incredibly dangerous. It's why you should never ever go swimming in areas where crocs occur, and try and stay well back from the water's edge as well. We love this when he swings around like that and heads back into the water. You're always tempted to give him a little tickle on the tail, but probably should. Now, we might finish up there, guys. I hope you have enjoyed your day with us here. Feel free to stick around. We are open till 5 o'clock. A couple of the exhibits might start to close, but we hope you have had a fantastic day, and we hope you had a fantastic long weekend as well. Thank you very much, guys. Continue to stay socially distanced, and we'll see you next time. Thank you, guys. Cheers.